Chapter 47. Sally went and sat at the back of the stall in the dark to think. She was overwhelmed by the events taking place around her. Her own heartbreak seemed so unimportant in this great scheme of things, and yet it had left her feeling vulnerable and useless. All confidence in herself was gone, yet now she was faced with the possibility of losing her closest friend and was completely incapable of helping him in any way. Everything was out of control, even their work was in danger from an ambitious young woman who was the pretender to the throne. Sally watched her shouting commands to Jeremy on stage. Sarah Kelly was like an eagle in her eyrie, swooping down every now and then to chivvy the actors along. Poor Jeremy, thought Sally. How can he concentrate on singing at a time like this? How long would he have to wait for the results? And what on earth would happen when Eddie was discovered to be gay by his father? Sally thought about Eddie and his promiscuous lifestyle. Jeremy was completely out of his depth on that score. Could the two of them ever have had a chance in the long run? Her mind went to Dora and her life, and suddenly Sally had a terrifying thought. What if Dora had slept with Robert? She could be in danger of this dreadful virus as well. Sally got up and immediately went in search of her sister. She found her in the wings waiting to go on for her number. Now was not the time to ask intimate questions. Jeremy was coming off, shaking his head and swearing to himself. That was good, said Sally, hoping to encourage him, but was having none of it. It was crap. Look, I need to get to a phone and find out if there is any news. He started towards the exit and the stage door. Why don't you come and use Heather's phone? It is more private and I can stand guard, suggested Sally. Let me help where I can. I know I can't do much, but I love you, Jeremy, and I want to be there for you and Eddie. Thanks, Sally. I appreciate it. Lead on. He followed Sally out of the wing's office. After several attempts to find Eddie to no avail, Jeremy decided to go and see Giles. Do you know where he is? Yeah, Sally, not for sure, but I assume he must be in his office because I have seen him in the building. She answered. Okay, I'll go see if I can find him. If anyone calls for me, I will be back in 15 minutes or so. Can you cover for me, please, Sally? Of course, go on. Sally went back to the stage. Ooh, what a beauty. I've never seen one as big as that before. Ooh, what a beauty. It must be 2 foot long or even more. Simon was giving his all to a huge marrow which was being constructed on stage by the crew as he was rehearsing. Geoffrey and Charmaine were standing by waiting to go on next, and Sally overheard them discussing their new director. I think she reckons she's running the national, moaned Charmaine. She keeps giving me detailed notes about my motivation. My motivation is to sit quiet and still while you sing to me. Do I need to have a discussion about what my thoughts are as you wobble away? Probably best not to know, replied Geoffrey solemnly. I can imagine what you must be thinking about. What you're going to eat for tea, why you are here at all. Charmaine laughed at this. Oh, now, Geoffrey, don't be so hard on yourself. I enjoy listening to your voice, I really do. Sally could not help but stifle a giggle, and the other two turned around guiltily. Oh, Sally, don't do that. You gave us a fright. The two of them looked like naughty school children. Sorry, guys, but you're a hoot. Sarah is certainly making her mark, though, isn't she? Are you coping with it okay? Oh, God, yes, exclaimed Geoffrey. We have been through this too long to be put off by anything less than an earthquake. We do it ourselves most of the time anyway, don't we? They all laughed and Sally watched as the two of them went on stage to set up for their number. Heather appeared at her side and said, Sally, can you go over to the workshop and oversee the marrow? It needs adjusting or something, according to Simon. See what he wants, will you? Sally saluted and disappeared. Has anyone seen my tiddler? Pete's voice whispered in Heather's ear. She spun around. I beg your pardon, she gasped. What on earth do you mean? And is it rude? That is the name of my song, chuckled Pete. I need a jam jar and a stick with a long bit of string attached to it with a little fish on the end of it, and yes, it is rude. Blimey, bring back Hamlet, said Heather. All I had to find was a skull. Right, come with me, young man, and we will sort out your tiddler, if you excuse the expression. On the way to the workshop, Sally suddenly remembered Dora and did about turn towards the dressing room. Instead, she found her sister pacing up and down through her song. Sorry to interrupt, said Sally, but can I have a word? Dora stopped singing and faced her. Yes, make it quick. I have to go and do chorus number in a minute. She took a deep breath. Dora, I'm so sorry to pry, but it is important. Did you sleep with Robert? The girl sighed heavily. God, Sally, we are not still on that, are we? For Christ's sake, what does it matter to you? Nothing. It is just something I need to check. Please, just trust me on this. This is important. It is important. Dora said very slowly and clearly, no, I do not have sex with Robert Johnson. There, you happy now? I can't believe I'm even bothering to answer you. Sally gave a quick nod and sped out of the room before Dora could ask any awkward questions. She still needed to see how Jeremy was getting on, but Heather found her first and asked about the marrow. Oops, I forgot. I'm so sorry. I'll do it now. It is just there is so much going on. I can't keep up with it all. Tell me about it, said Heather grimly. It is supposed to be the season of confident joy, but there seems little evidence of that around here. By the way, just to add to the chaos, we have to get someone to organise a secret Santa jobby for between the shows on Christmas Eve. We also have a bit of a tea and buns and prezzies. I know, but now is not ideal, but it is only 3 weeks away. Shit, look at the time. I need to call the company on stage. Excuse me. She held up like the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, shaking her head and muttering to herself. Sally was forced to follow her to the stage where Sarah was waiting with a sheaf of note in her hands. Right, everyone, I'm pleased to say we are in good nick. So I propose we break for lunch, then start the technical rehearsal at 2 o'clock. As I said before, with a bit of luck, we may get a dress rehearsal in tonight, or at least half for one. So tomorrow morning around 11 we can finish it and then break and then start the proper dress at 2 o'clock. Ready to open the show at 7:30. Thank you everyone. It is going to be fabulous. Sally had hardly rehearsed her number at all, but she was not too bothered, and she knew exactly what she was doing with it, and did not need Sarah Kelly's input. She did, however, need a dress, and a pure dress at that. She knew Janine had put one aside for her, but she had not yet tried it on, and it might be a good idea for her to do that now. She met Janine coming down the stairs with an armful of costumes. Can I try on my dress any time soon? Sally asked her. Yes, of course. Do you want to do it now? If so, just follow me. Sally did as she was told and followed Janine to the wardrobe department, where Gwendolyn was overseeing Pete while he tried on a pair of shorts trousers for his tickler number. Pete, you look most fetching, chuckled Sally. What do you think, girls? Could you have that in your bed? Please spare me, Janine replied. It is bad enough having to listen to him playing with his tiddler. They burst into fits of the giggles. Yeah, very funny, girls. Mock a man trying to do the best for his art. Screeched Janine, and this brought about further squeals of laughter. Sorry to interrupt, but could I have a word, please, Sally? Giles Longfellow was standing in the doorway, and the whole room went silent. Yes, of course, said Sally. She followed Giles out of the room without a backward glance. Not a word was spoken all the way to Giles' office. He showed Sally into the room and shut the door. Please have a seat. Would you like something to drink? He was pouring himself a very large brandy as he said this. No, thank you, said Sally, and waited for Giles to speak. He sat down opposite her slowly. He looked old and grey, and there was none of the dashing entrepreneur about him today. He swirled the golden liquid round the brandy glass and peered into it like a fortune teller, hoping for inspiration. You are Jeremy's closest friend, he tells me. Giles spoke without looking at her. I understand he told you about Robert and his illness. He paused and took a sip of brandy. He also told you of his involvement with Eddie Graham and the obvious problems this creates. Do you have any idea how serious the situation is for everyone? He gave Sally a piercing look, and Sally held his gaze. She could see the pain in his eyes, but also something else. Giles was frightened. Deep down in his bone, he was scared. The fear was rolling off him. Sally could almost smell it. Why was she here? She could not understand why he had asked her to see him. I am a little confused as to why you've asked me here. Giles, yes, I understand that there were serious issues concerning Jeremy and Eddie and possibly yourself, but what can I do exactly? There was a long silence and then a groan from Giles. Because Eddie has contracted this virus and he will probably die, and he's your best friend's lover. Jeremy's devastated and you are the only person he has in his life to turn to, so I'm asking you to take care of him through this. We're all devastated and the whole dreadful business touches so many lives. I won't go into the details if you don't mind, as they are confidential, but I would also ask you to keep this private. I know you can be trusted, Sally, and I value your discretion enormously and your support. It is going to be exceedingly tough on Jeremy for the next few weeks, so I just wanted to make sure you would be there for him. Of course I will. Thank you so much for telling me and for trusting me. I do hope you all get through this, and I'm so sorry to hear about Eddie. Sally decided the best thing to do was to get out quick. She left the office and ran down the stairs as fast as she could. She was so shocked she really could not take it all in. Where was Jeremy now? She needed to talk to him. She went straight to the boys' dressing room, but only Simon and Pete were there. Have you seen Jeremy? She asked. He had gone to the shops to get some lunch, said Pete. Thanks, replied Sally, and was gone. She raced down the stairs and out to the stage door. Gladys, have you seen Jeremy? The big woman was eating a hot pie and could not answer immediately. Much to Sally's frustration, she had to wait until the Gladys trumped her way, puffing through her mouth with a steak and kidney. Pardon me, love. Sorry about that. Blimey, it was hot. Now then, what are you asking? Oh, yes, young Jeremy. Well, he came running out looking something terrible, white as a sheet. I told him to go to the pub and buy himself a brandy. So I think this is what he has done. Nothing serious, is it, love? But she was talking to herself because Sally had already gone. Sally found Jeremy sitting in the corner by the fire, surrounded by hearty, happy lunchtime drinkers. He was hunched over his glass, staring into the flames. Sally managed to grab a spare stool and dragged it across to sit down beside him. He hardly acknowledged her presence. Jeremy, I'm so sorry. What is there to say? It is terrible news. Please look at me. Come on, you need to talk. Shall we go somewhere more private? Eddie's going to die and I can't take it in. Why has this happened? Am I being punished, Sally? I am okay. I'm not infected, and nor are Giles or Lord Graham. I can't comprehend it. We are spared, yet Eddie has to die. What am I going to do? I can't tell my parents, and I have got to get through Christmas Day. Oh, God, I can't do it. Sally could feel his shoulders starting to shake and knew she had to get him out of the pub. She hauled him up, saying, Come on now, let's just go somewhere private. Hang on a few more minutes, and then you can cry all you want, my friend. She literally dragged him out of the pub and managed to get him to walk back to the theatre. Now let's get past Gladys without inquiry. You just have to hold your breath and stand up straight and walk quickly. Jeremy did everything he was told, and the two of them hurried past Gladys their way. The latter was not too bothered, as she was now engaged with a large portion of steaming roly-poly pudding, which was very hot. Sally got Jeremy sat down in her dressing room and shut the door so they would not be disturbed. There was still half an hour before the technical rehearsal started. Look, we're going to have to find a way to get you through this show. Started with 2 o'clock today, and unless I tell Sarah you're ill, I could do that, and then you could go home. I don't want to be on my own, cried Jeremy. I want to see Eddie, but his father has forbidden it. Sally, they have taken Eddie away to a nursing home somewhere. They're telling people he has a terminal cancer, but he might not live for ages yet. I don't know much about the illness, but Giles has been telling me and George Delaware that the virus could lie dormant for years before it presents itself. I want to talk to Eddie and make him see that we can still be together. I won't leave him. I love him, for God's sake. Okay, let's get this straight. Lord Graham won't let you see Eddie ever again. Yes, he is crazy. He told Giles it was my fault his son was gay. Never mind caught this terrible virus. Nothing could be further from the truth, Sal. I feel like a teenager compared to Eddie. He has betrayed me and our love. He has been having affairs for the last 3 years. He says he wants to stop now. He has met me, but who knows? Anyway, all this is irrelevant now. I just want to see him and talk. Can't Giles help you see him? Surely if he and Lord Graham are so close, he could have some influence, she suggested. Jeremy blew his nose and sat up, trying to pull himself together. To be honest, I think this whole thing has split them up. Giles seems completely lost. Lord Graham is battening down the hatches and closing all possible means of this leaking out to the press. Can you imagine what they would make of it? I reckon Giles has been giving his marching orders as well, so one or another we are all fucked. I think Eddie will find a way to contact you, said Sally thoughtfully. He will not want to leave it like this. Just try and sit tight for the time being and see what happens. You have got so much on your plate these next 3 weeks, Jeremy. I know it is tough, but you must be strong, and you must not let it stop you doing your work. You know what we have always told each other. Work comes first. Sally stopped as she saw the tears welling up again in Jeremy's eyes. She gathered him to her and held her tight. You can do this, she whispered. We will do it together. Chapter 48. Ladies and gentlemen, for your delectation and delight, please put your hands together and welcome a young and perfectly formed songstress, born to soar to the heights of sublime ecstasy, Miss Sally Thomas. The audience cheered and whistled as Sally was lowered on a swing to the center of the stage, where she sang "The Boy I Love Is Up in the Gallery." She wore gorgeous pale blue and cream lace dress with mountains of petticoats and little leather boots which peeped through the folds of her gown as she swung backwards and forwards with all the drama that was going on in real life. It was a relief to be there for 5 perfect minutes every night and sing her heart out to an adoring crowd. She had had more fan letters this week than any other time. It certainly helped her through the day rehearsing with Jeremy, who wandered about in a coma. His poor performance as the ill-important character Badger was so disappointing for her and the rest of the cast because they all had been looking forward to the Toad Hall. Simon was creating wonderfully evil leader of the Weasels, and Percy was sublime as Toad. "This part was made for you," said Sarah, clapping hands after a particularly good run-through. "Don't know whether to take this as a compliment or not," whispered Percy under his breath to Peggy. She gave his arm a squeeze and whispered back, "You are too good-looking for the role, really, my darling." And they both laughed. Sally was having a ball playing the water ratty. She was strutting about with a false moustache on, much to everyone's amusement. Pete was a perfect mole because he was quite small anyway, but he had already devised an amazing face makeup which blended down his neck and chest into his costume. It was a pain to put on every night, but the effect was incredible because it gave the animals real characters. Pete had to give lessons to everyone else in the cast, and even he got his name in the program as animal makeup designer. "Can't be bad to have another string to his bow," commented Janine. "We need all the help we can get in this game." Dora was a dream. As the jailer's daughter, who disguised Toad as a washerwoman so he could get out of jail. Gwendolyn had made her a frock with the lowest bodice imaginable, and Dora cleavage was very much on show to the delight of the boys. "Are you sure she can go in front of children dressed like that?" asked Sally. Janine and Drennan had a bit of the giggles. "Well, it will make all the dads happy, won't it?" chuckled Janine. "It's a laugh. Children don't worry about a bit of cleavage." "A bit?" yelped Sally. Jeremy, however, was giving a decidedly lackluster performance as Badger. "I'm so sorry, Sally. I just can't stop thinking about Eddie. If only I could see him and talk to him." After a few days of this, Sally had had enough and went to see Giles. "Please, Giles, can you persuade Lord Graham to at least let Jeremy say goodbye properly?" she pleaded. "We need him up to speed for the show." "I'll do my best, but his lordship will hardly give me the time of day either." If truth be known, Giles was at his wits' end. He and Teddy had a meeting in London to discuss the finance of the theatre, and Edward Graham had basically told Giles that after this session he was withdrawing his support. "But why, for God's sake? Just because you and I can no longer be together doesn't mean that the theatre has to suffer. You know how much it means to me to keep crew going, and all my dreams for the future, and we're going to open Hamlet in 3 months' time, which will be a fantastic achievement. Please, Teddy, don't destroy everything I have. I have lost you, which is enough to bear." But Giles was wasting his breath. Lord Graham had shut down and was immune to all pleading. From the moment he heard that his son had HIV and his predicament was life-threatening, something inside Edward Graham had also died. He could hardly face Tanya and Tilly, so he spent most of his time in his apartment in London. He rarely went out socially. Gossip was rife in inner circles, but he had managed to keep it all from the press. He had sent Eddie away to stay with some friends in New York and had arranged for his son to see a doctor there who was an authority on this new disease. And he hoped they could be offered would be welcome, but there had been none. He was expecting Eddie home for Christmas and intended to keep him well away from the boy. He thought he was in love with He was so bitter and angry with poor Jeremy for no good reason. He knew he was being illogical, and he even felt remorse as the pain he must be causing the boy by not allowing him to see Eddie. But he also felt repelled by them both for their obvious passion and pleasure with each other, not his son. How did it happen? He could see the hatred and loathing in his wife's eyes, and he knew she blamed him for everything. But then, had he not been similarly overwhelmed with the passion for Giles? Did he not support being gay? It was no longer against the law. Society recognized it as acceptable now. Why did he feel this guilty? He must stand proud and face the world for himself, for his son. But in his heart he knew he was weak and that his life could be hell on earth if he admitted his sexuality. Tanya had promised to stand by him for Eddie and Tilly's sake, but only if he never saw Giles again or engaged in an extracurricular activity. They would live the life to the end, and if God forbid Eddie's illness could develop, then it would also be known as cancer, left at that. If Eddie died, I have had a postcard from Eddie. Jeremy was beside himself with delight when he cornered Sally early next morning. He's been in New York, but gets back this weekend and wants to meet. Oh my God, I'm so happy, Sally. I'm so sorry I've been such a pain, and I promise I'll make it up to you guys and give the performance of my life for you all. Oh, Badger will rise and strike the wild wood. He gave Sally a big kiss and skipped off to the dressing room. Thank goodness, thought Sally. The euphoria may not last when reality sets in, but at least if he gets us through the play, that is something to be thankful for at least. And maybe the Christmas spirit will imbue us all with a little hope. Christmas was bearing down upon them fast, and the cast were becoming quite happy. All the dressing rooms were festooned with paper chains and tinsel. Even Sarah had put some holly around her mirror and was hanging silver balls along the edge. When Sally came into the dressing room one morning, the two girls were not exactly enemies, but not friends either. But Sally had decided that Sarah had her feet under the table, and if Sally wanted certain parts after Christmas, she needs to stake her claim. Morning, Sarah. That looks very festive, she smiled her greeting. Thank you, replied Sarah, standing up and turning to face Sally. How are you finding life on the water bank? I must say, all of you have really taken to your characters. I really love it. Laddie was always my favourite as a child. Actually, Sarah, I have been meaning to ask you about the next couple of plays. After Christmas, will you be directing them? Yes, I will. As a matter of fact, Giles, as you know, has a lot on his plate with Hamlet, so he asked me to take over. As you can imagine, I am thrilled. It is what I've always wanted to do. Sarah said this so in answer to any question anyone might have had who was in doubt as to her intentions from the beginning of the season. Sally nodded in agreement. Oh yes, that is obvious from the work you have done so far. So that's great then. You have your heart's desire. Lucky you. She couldn't help her last comment, and it was out before she could stop it. It is not all luck, you know, Sarah answered, or sharp. You have to fight sometimes for what you want. I take it you have not found your heart's desire, Sally. But have you really worked out exactly what that is yet? Sally began to feel uncomfortable. What did this woman want from her? It was really none of her business what her heart's desire was anyway. Deciding to change the subject, she put on a big cheesy grin and said, I would love to play Sandy in the prime of Miss Jean Brodie. I take it Charmaine will be playing Jean Brodie. I would also love to play the lead in The Boyfriend. I am very committed to this season and crew, Sarah, and I feel quite strongly that I can bring a good deal to the production as an actress and a company member. Sally watched her without any expression. She was giving nothing away. Well, it is good to know where you stand. I'm glad to see you still have ambition after the ups and downs so far. What about Dora? She's very popular with the audience and very keen to make her mark. Sarah could not resist throwing a small spanner into the works. Absolutely right, agreed Sally, refusing to be drawn. There are certain roles she'll be perfect for in the coming plays. However, she still has to get more experience before she can take responsibility for a leading role. But that is just my opinion, she added with her most charming smile. Well, I had better get going or there will be no props ready for the dress rehearsal. See you later. Sally breathed a sigh of relief as she went down the stairs. Sarah was tricky, there was no doubt about it, and she really kept her cards close to her chest. But Sally was determined not to be put off. She had had a shitty time since Rupert left, and the only good thing was that they all had been so busy she had little time to feel sorry for herself. But every now and then she thought about their night together and her stomach had tied in knots. He had sent her a card from Eli saying he was having a wonderful time. There was no mention of Isabel, but why would he be that cruel to her? She was not a fool and just wished he would leave her alone now. She could never be friends after what happened, and she certainly did not want to understudy in Hamlet in the West End. That really would be going nowhere fast. The lowest of the low, watching his star ascend to great heights. They had asked Jeremy to go, and that was quite right. His Lateras was a brilliant piece of work. Sally was so happy for him and hoped it would make up a little for his problems. He was still very quiet and withdrawn, and she spent any spare time she had keeping an eye on him and trying to raise his spirits. Sally was concentrating making Toad the Toad Hall a huge success, and she was looking forward to going home for Christmas Day. She was also hoping to catch a few moments with Mac. Everything that happened with Rupert had rather taken over her thoughts, but Sally still needed to resolve feelings about Mac. Somehow he represented another way of life. But was that what she wanted? There was so much going on around her that was affecting her in so many different ways, and it was difficult to put it all together. She was longing to see her parents and just bask in their warmth and security. So they managed to get gifts in between rehearsals and prop collecting. And tonight she sat in the flat in front of the fire and played Christmas carols on the radio while she wrapped them all up. Dora had come home one night from the pub and interrupted her reverie. Oh my God, sis, don't tell me you have done all your presents already. Why? What are you like? She had slumped down onto the sofa, squashing some Christmas paper and decorations as she did so. Oh, for goodness sake, Dora, look what you are doing. Get up, you have wrecked my wrapping paper. Come on, please, move your fat ass. Excuse me, huffed Dora, dragging herself off the sofa. I do not have a fat ass if you don't mind. Oh, come on, Sally, chill out a bit. You are no fun these days. Still pining for Rupee? Let's face it, that was never going anywhere. Sally refused to rise to the bait. She was just too tired and fed up with everything. She and Dora did nothing but bicker these days, and Sally was hoping that on Christmas Day they could keep it pleasant for their parents' sake. Have you heard from the casting woman at Coronation Street yet? She asked, changing the subject. Dora let out a scream of delight. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, yes. How could I forget to tell you? I have an audition for a character in Koru. A possible regular character. Can you believe it, Dora? Dora was now jumping up and down, dangerously close to Sally's wrapped gifts. Hey, this is wonderful news, but please don't mind my parcels. Sit down over there, can't you? That's a good girl. Dora actually did as she was told and sat in the chair hugging herself. I can't believe it, but it would be so amazing if I got it. I go next week. What a Christmas present that would be, wouldn't it? Sally went and gave her sister a hug. I'm really happy for you. Good luck. She then went to the kitchen and started to make some hot chocolate. Dora stood in the doorway and watched her. Are you really pleased for me? She asked. Sarah looked at her off. Yes, of course I am. Why do you ask? Oh, I don't know. I just seem to annoy you all the time, and things have not been going well for you, have they? Did that agent ever get in touch, by the way? Sally concentrated hard on the hot milk. No, he did not, but to be honest, I didn't expect him to really. I was not his type of actress. He has offered Jeremy a contract, did you know? I think this is great news. Just what Jeremy needs at the moment. She forced a bright smile in Dora's direction and poured out the drinks, adding, Don't you worry about me, Dora. I will soon be catching you up. Think Karen taught us. They laughed and said goodnight, and each went to their own room. Sally undressed, desperately trying to keep all thoughts of agents and jobs at bay. She did not want to think about any of that for the time being. She had received the letter from the agent, Peter Stone, with resignation. She had known it would be a no. She had not even expected him to contact her, and when she had had a moment of daring desire to write to him, she couldn't find his card. Last time she had seen it was on the kitchen table the night they had all met, so when she couldn't find it, she took it as a sign it was not to be and let it go. She had been through it for Jeremy and decided she would tackle the whole agent thing after Christmas. If she got a couple of good parts, she could write to various theatres and casting directors and agents and take it from there. From now, she just wanted to go home and sit in front of the familiar fat Christmas tree and pretend she was 10 years old again. Thanks for listening.